Good morning. Hello. How you all doing? Hope you are fine. Okay, it's nice to be here again. Today we're going to be talking about single parenting, specifically single motherhood. And my name is Sandra Ogangs. It's nice to be here again. Okay, so as we all know, a lot of people know that I am a single mom. My son's name, which if you're my friend, you know his name, but I won't mention it here. Okay, so I'm going to start with my own experience. I'm not going to be doling out points and all that. I'm going to be talking about my own experience on single motherhood. Okay, so prior to growing up, like prior to being a matured person, it never actually occurred to me that I was ever going to be a single mom. Even though I wasn't looking at marriage, I'd never really pictured marriage. So even when I was dating, when I was in uni and the rest, I never put marriage like a priority. Like I just used to have fun and all that. So, but everybody around me, my parents, my dad, but my mom, my siblings, my friends, family friends, and the rest, they all expected that, oh, after school, while you're working, then I'll now end up marrying, one big wedding or something. But unfortunately, I disappointed them. Or should I say, I did what I wanted to do. I did not plan it or imagine it. It just happened. And when it happened, I was scared because I didn't want to do anything that would make me regret tomorrow. All I just wanted was to be happy. And at that point, what made me happy was seeing a child or having a child. So I took the bold step of keeping the child. Though I was with a man, I was with his father though, but eventually one or two things happened, then we couldn't be together. And I wasn't ready to jeopardize my freedom, my happiness, and everything just because of marriage. He would have married me, but I wasn't ready to jeopardize my happiness and my freedom, for marriage and then become one depressed fellow. I was already depressed already with so many things. So now going to a marriage where I'll be depressed completely was what I didn't want for myself. So I decided to take the bold step to go leave him and then train my child on my own, which I started. So when I came back to Abuja, it was a very difficult one for me, honestly. Like I'm laughing now, I'm smiling. It was difficult for me. I had to go through a lot of, I had to even hide myself. I wasn't staying in town anymore. I stayed at the outskirts, just because I didn't want anybody to know I had a child. For the few people who I was talking to, who were helping, and I didn't have a job to freak you out the most. Like I had a business I was doing, but the business was coming one in, one out, and I didn't have a job, so I literally had to get support from friends and family. So it was like I was a burden on them. You get. So it wasn't like I didn't want to work, but I didn't know how to start working. And for Christ's sakes, I was carrying a child of 1 year. Who do I want to leave my child with? Daycares and the rest is so scary and all that. So I had to carry my child, like those times when he hadn't even started school. I will have to, if I'm going for my business appointments, I will have to go with him and the rest. And I will just be looking all so choked up with stuff and all that. But over time, it started getting better because he started growing and then he started school. So I had to leave him with someone, and then there were so many challenges I went through. At some point, I had to leave him. Several sets of people I'll leave him with while I go to town, and then I end up coming back late because of transportation coming back, or there's traffic, or I have to stay late for an appointment or something. I will end up having issues with them because they'll be like, I'm leaving my child completely with them. But they didn't understand that it was even hurting me that I was doing that. I wanted to spend time with my son. I wanted to be able to pick him from school. I wanted to be able to do a lot of things for him, but I couldn't. So over time, I started getting more matured with it. In fact, I won't lie to you, I wouldn't say it was a bad decision. It was a good decision, even though, and one good thing about it, I'm not afraid to say I'm a single mom, because I know like one day it's still going to be a good thing for me. You understand? So it started that way, like the disadvantages started coming in, creeping in one by one. When he's sick, I have to be the one to take care of him completely myself. And so many things. It was so traumatic for me. Sometimes I will just, if he's crying, I will carry him. Sometimes when he's sleeping at night, I may be sleeping beside him, but I'll keep crying and crying. I kept crying for nights because I didn't know where to start from. I was confused. I was just left alone in the world to sort myself out. So, but over time, I started, picking myself up, getting the courage. I had a lot of friends. Like, I had like a few friends, you know. I don't want to mention their names, but I'm sure if they watch this video, they know themselves. They abandoned me on the way. I mean, abandoned. Like, they literally told me that I should take my son back to his father, that and then come back and start my life all over. And I told them, I cannot. I will not. I'm telling you my experiences so that you know what it feels to be a single mom. You understand? It's not a thing of joy, actually, but you have to find joy in it by yourself. So it continued that way. About two or three of my friends talked to me and told me they were actually part of people that were supporting my life. They were helping me and my son and all that. So whenever I come to them, they won't say anything. They will give me what I needed and all that. But then it got to a point one day they sat me down and told me that, babe, take this boy back and start your life afresh. And I told them, I cannot live with this child. I cannot live with taking my child just because I cannot fend for him. I just can't abandon my child like that. I took the bold step. Instead of going to them for anything, I stopped going to them for anything and I took a bold step. I started looking for a job. It was difficult getting a job, but I won't lie to you. I got one or two jobs, but they were not what I wanted. But so I just kept on. I kept on pushing on my business, kept on. In fact, even me, I don't even know how I survived it till date. But I just know that God has been so good to me. Like, He's been awesome. The truth is, there are actually a lot of disadvantage. One of the toughest responsibilities ever, especially as a single parent, is bringing up that child alone. Honestly, sometimes I look at him and I'm like, hey, how will I survive this? I'm not even a man, but I don't even know the things of men. So how do I even start to talk to him about the things that his father or a man in his life is supposed to talk to him about? So these are part of the things that I face, part of the things that I kept thinking about and I keep thinking about every day. But I don't know, God just always gives me strength every thought I get to. So the truth is, single parenting is not awesome, especially from our African background and everything that we are in Nigeria too. Single parenting is not the best decision anybody should make. There are the good sides, there are the bad sides to single parenting. But the most important thing is that you did not decide that that's how you wanted it. Circumstances made it turn that way. Nobody wants to be single. Even me, I don't want to be single. I want to be married. I want to be in a man's house. My friend, who is my best friend and all that. But then I wouldn't have just jumped into marriage. So I wouldn't have allowed pregnancy to push me into marriage. So there are ups and downs, with single parenting. Let me not lie to you. Circumstances will come and you will begin to have reasons in your heart why you should dump the child or go and give the child to one family friend or family member to take care of while you push your life and the rest. But you have to be prepared. I chose to prepare my mind for the good and the bad that came with single parenting or being a single mom. There were so many advantages. The truth is, one of the advantages of me, Sandy, being a single mom is that I had to make parenting decisions on my own. I had to take authority because that was one of the things I was scared of. I've always been scared of making decisions. And I noticed that ever since I started making decisions as a single mom, I now can make decisions concerning my own life personally, my work, my friends, my decisions concerning friends and all that, because it made me stronger. I was not able to make decisions on my own. You understand? I realized that whatever decisions I made, would affect my child in any form. It had to do with school. If there were difficult times, in fact, there was a time my son didn't go to school, because I didn't have I couldn't make the right decision on what to do. And there are times where I'd have to put him in more expensive schools. There are times where I put him in lower schools, He has changed schools a lot because of me being alone and all that. But then these decisions, as you keep moving forward, as I kept moving forward, rather, I was able to be stern with my decisions. Then when it came to finances, that was the worst part of it all. In fact, it's as if that point at which when you need that money, that's when the money will not come. Sometimes I remember one time someone told me one day, she was like, you're a single mom. Whenever you have money, set aside. Never allow money. And my mom told me the same thing. She told me never allow yourself to get to a point where you don't have a dime on you because you are with a child. There's nobody else. You cannot run to anybody in the middle of the night. But once you have that money, you have confidence in yourself as a child, as a single mother. So I made sure that I always was able to have something with me. It's not easy per se to be able to have that money, especially in our economy. Sometimes your salary will even come, and before the salary even comes, it's been spent already. You understand? But you just have to try. You have to manage. I had to try my best to hold on. And my finances, I had to start learning how to keep my money. Me, I'm a big spender. If I have money, I have this belief that if you spend the money, more will come. You understand? So, but I had to start learning to be able to plan my finances. When the finances come, I will sit down and plan. I never used to do all that stuff. I'll sit down, I'll now plan and say, okay, this money is going to my baby's food. This money is going to his school fees. This money is going to this. And at the end of the day, I found out that everything is going to him. But I didn't care. The most important thing was him being happy. You know, Another advantage that my son or I have is that my son became very matured. He's not even 7 years, but his maturity is out of this world. Like, he's so matured. Why? Because and God just, I don't know, but God just blessed me in a way that anything that is my problem, I can actually call him and sit and talk with him. And he always gives me good advice. It's a funny thing. But it's not everything I talk to him about, but we are very, very close, me and him. We are that close that he will tell me, sometimes I used to spank him a lot. And I realized that after a while, until the day he sat me down, he was like, Mommy, I want to talk to you. And I said, yes. He said, Mommy, please don't be beating me again. Talk to me, I'll listen to you. And I realized that I was beating him because I was angry. I was very, very, very angry with myself for putting myself in that situation. And the minute he told me that, I never could lift my hands on him again, except he does something that needs to be spanked for. So we became very close. Imagine for a child to be able to tell you that please don't beat me, talk to me, I'll tell you my secret, I'll tell you everything. And we became so close. We rub minds together. Sometimes I say, Joshua, I want to do this, what should I do? Joshua, which movie should we watch? We kept on at it, and me and even when we go for grocery shopping together, we talk about whatever we need together. He'll say, Mommy, let's buy this one, Mommy, let's not buy this one. We just, even though as a child he will still have his own selfish selfish interest at heart, but you just have to be the wiser one and the older one when it comes to that. And then I had to deal with undivided attention. For someone like me who wants to make connections, who wants to go out, it was very difficult for me. Or rather, should I say, it is very difficult for me. Because sometimes I find out that 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, I don't give him attention. But at some point, one thing I do rather, is I make sure that even if it's from Monday to Friday, I don't have time for him. I make sure Saturday and Sunday I'm around, we play, we do stuff together and all that. Because the attention, honestly, will just be so divided. Because you are the only one, the entire love, he will be expecting, or you will expect that you should be able to give him the entire love. But the truth is, you cannot give him the entire love. You understand? So that is part of it. But like we always say, we are all in a better position. You are the one that wears the shoes, and you know where it hurts most. So you know what you want to give. Is it attention? Is it love? Is it whatever? And another thing that cost me undivided attention was relationships. But the minute I realized that my son was priority to me, I took every relationship off my back. Any friendship that would take me to a point where I don't have time for my child, I took it out, because it was most paramount to me, and that was what I was alive to do. Parenting is not, it's part of what we've been brought on earth to do. And if you can't do it well, what else will you do? We cannot do it on our own. Actually, at the end of the day, you need the wisdom of God to be able to parent properly. I realized also that I became very dependent on people. You know, I was very, very dependent on people. That's the truth. At some point, I was trying to balance. I didn't know where to go. Even to go out, I have to depend on someone because I want to go out, And me, I've always been an independent person. I don't like depending on anybody for anything. In fact, my independence is so bad that if I tell you, please, can you kindly help me do this thing now? Once I tell you the first time, I tell you a second time, and you haven't done it for me, I stand up and do my thing myself. That's how independent I am, But I got to a point where I had to start depending on people. Sometimes, even when my son is sick or there's lack of food, or I have to go somewhere that's very important that I know that to yield something good for me, I'll now be depending on somebody to keep him in their house or something. So this kept on and kept on. And the only way I realized was to set my priorities right, to do what was right, plan myself. Plan myself. I planned myself. I had to start planning myself, iron out differences, the differences between me and the people that were helping me take care of my son, at some point. We were in the same house, but definitely I had to go out and go and make a living. So I had to, even if I am upset at some or two things, I had to come to a point of understanding with them because I was dependent on them, or I am dependent on them even till now. So another experience that I went through was always having shortage of money. I keep going back to money, money, money. I was always having shortage of money, and the rest. But by the grace of God, it's been good. And one thing that I tried not to do was I tried not to be resentful and feel bitter towards myself and his father or anybody or even him. I tried, I made sure that I became a happy person. Whatever made me happy, that was the right thing to do or think, or if it had to do with going to read books rather, or watch a movie or sleep, whatever just made me happy, I would do so that I don't get resentful, I don't get unhappy, and I don't start pouring that bitterness on him because I know that once I pour that bitterness on him, he'll become a bitter child, and that's not what I don't want to train a child that is bitter and bring a child into the system that will being, you know what I mean. A lot of children are out there. So many people, so many adults are out there being bitter, beating their wives, and doing nasty things in marital life. But most of the things, there's nothing wrong with them. It's because of their upbringing, the way they were brought up. That's why they are behaving the way they are behaving. And I don't want to bring my child like that, you know. So that was it. And one thing I had to realize was that I was my own boss. I had to make all the decisions myself. All the responsibilities fell on my shoulder. But thank God, God has been faithful. It's not easy. It's a very, very hard job to be a single mom, I must tell you, because a lot of people will criticize you. They will say stuff to you that you will be so hurting. But at the end of the day, just realize that you cannot do it all by yourself. You just need God. So I realized also that while I was trying to pick myself up, I was overworked, you know. I'll come back. Once I wake up in the morning, I take him to school. Before he comes up, I clean up. It was so much for me, honestly. I will take him back to school. Then I'll now come and sit down and start thinking of money to take care of him. Only me. It was overload for me. I won't lie to you. The overload was too much. Then when I now started working, I would wake up early in the morning, take him to work, come back. But the thing is, for people that have both parents, it's easier for them because they can share the responsibilities together. But me, I am taking all the responsibilities by myself. The truth is, another thing is, the truth is, I always feel very lonely. But that's why I surround myself with people all the time. I felt so lonely. If you remember, there was one of the episodes I mentioned how I didn't like staying alone. But me, I'm a very quiet person, though I talk a lot. When you open my mouth, I'm like a can of words. When I don't talk a lot, but I don't talk. I'm a quiet person. But once you open my mouth to talk, like, everything will be coming out like that. And I was always quiet and all that. But when I became a single mom, I was keeping to myself a lot, keeping to myself, keeping to myself. So one day I met someone who told me that why am I always quiet like this, that he doesn't know me to be like this. And I told him, I said, I don't even know where to start from. I'm so lonely and all that. And the person was like, he notices that I don't come out. I'm always indoors. I'm always in my room. And even when I'm in my room, I'm crying or something. And I told him, I said, I don't know how to want to be around people, number one. So the best thing is for me to stay indoors. But when I stay indoors, I get very lonely. At the same time, that was a very conflicting feeling. I get lonely and I will cry and all that. So I had to learn how to balance being around people and having my own space, and trying to remove that thought of loneliness from my head. So with time, I stopped getting lonely and the rest and all that. So disciplining of children, of a child was,